Welcome to The Drive on ESPN Blacksburg, AM 1430, 810, FM 94.1, and live on the web at espnblacksburg.com.
It's The Drive on ESPN Blacksburg, and a good Wednesday evening to all of you. My name is Paul Van Wagoner. The gentleman to my right is B-Rye. He is taking your calls at 961-1430, 961-1430. He, much like Grayson Allen, has gone away from tripping people and now is just punching people. It's Jason Stamm. How are you?
Hey, I've never been a serial tripper, Paul. Nobody's ever confused me for that.
That's true. That's true. And I've seen you throw a punch. You definitely don't want to be hitting anybody with those soft pillow hands of yours. Real quick, just I kind of want your take on this. I don't know that you and I have had an opportunity to talk about this Grayson Allen situation. I know you've probably seen the videos from yesterday's game against Florida State. The Florida State assistant coach came out and said, look, I don't think he did anything wrong. It just, he dove in after the ball, and I didn't do a good job of getting out of his way. What are your thoughts on what we're seeing out of Grayson Allen right now?
Well, he's put himself in that position now where everything he does is going to be scrutinized. Mm-hmm. Anything even remotely close to a push, a trip, any kind of, physical, whatever, it's going to be scrutinized and examined this close. So
right.
I don't know. I think if it's anybody else, it's just like an inadvertent thing. Mm-hmm. I don't know if there was any intent there yesterday. But because it is who it is, and because he has a reputation now as someone who, bad sport and it resorts to tripping people, and this is just what comes with it. So, I don't know. I think that Grayson Allen, I know he got suspended one game, the quote indefinite suspension. Mm-hmm. I think something more should have been done. I don't think that's obviously enough. I think Grayson Allen has some issues that he needs to be worked through, and I don't think one game off, a week and a half, whatever that ended up being because of the holiday, is probably enough to get him the help. And I say that in a concerned way. I think
sure.
He genuinely needs some help, and there's something not right there. And as good as a player he is, and I know Duke needs him on the court, I don't think it's helping him any off the court as a person and getting him to where he needs to be.
Let's switch gears here and let's talk a little. Well, I guess it's quasi recruiting. I guess you can lump this into recruiting. AJ Bush agrees to come play at Virginia Tech as a transfer student. This is a kid that spent some time at Western Community College. Also, I believe, spent a little bit of time at Nebraska. Is he a player that the Hokies expect to contribute, e.g., like a Gerard Evans, or is he more of a depth player that gives them some senior leadership at the quarterback position?
Now, first of all, Paul, I'm going to say we talked about him last week. Mm-hmm. So we were right on point with he was the guy from the beginning. I really wasn't sure if he was going to commit that soon because
right.
He still has not been to Virginia Tech. But we knew that was the guy. Once Malik Zaire basically turned him down, mm-hmm. AJ Bush became the guy. So, I don't think it's a definite, when Gerard Evans signed last year, he was just so good and had followed them from Memphis to Virginia Tech, followed that staff. You knew he was going to be the guy. There
right.
was, I'm still not sure to this point how much competition there actually was in the spring and mm-hmm. the fall. I think they just really wanted to get Gerard's, they wanted to get big-headed at that point and thinking he was going to be clearly the guy. I think it did help him having that competition and being able to push harder for longer, in practice. But, as far as A.J. Bush goes, I think he has the potential to be the guy. Mm-hmm. He battled for that starting position at Nebraska, and that was really one of the main reasons why he transferred, if not the reason why he transferred. He was right in contention in the spring, didn't get it in fall camp, kind of realized, I think, at the last possible second, hey, if I want to have a shot to start somewhere, it's not going to be here. He was pretty much not going to do it at Nebraska. So I know he was telling me when he and I talked that he got to Iowa Western, I think it was 2 days before their first scrimmage.
Okay.
So it was he had to really, really cram to get everything in the playbook and get accustomed to everything there. So, it was a really whirlwind of a couple of days there, a couple of weeks, I think, for him to get ready for the season because it was mid-August when he went there. Mm-hmm. But again, I think he can be the guy. I think Josh Jackson can be the guy.
Right.
But both of those guys are just so unproven. I mean, you don't want to hand the reins to a redshirt freshman. And again, partly I think of that, and this is also, I think you also see, maybe that the competition, the quote competition, was a little overblown in the fall. If Josh Jackson was really up is where they said he was, I don't know if you need to, if it would be, and maybe we could say outright he would be the guy, but we can't do that. So I think it's only going to help both of them, and whoever emerges as the guy should be better off for going through that competition.
Sure.
But yeah, A.J. Bush is not clearly the guy. He can be the guy, but he's got a long way to go still. As does Josh Jackson.
I guess let me ask you this, because you made a comment about not handing the reins over to an unproven player. What other options do the Hokies have this year? Because let's face it, Bush has done some stuff at the JUCO level, but really at the D1 level isn't proven. Jackson redshirted this year. Hendon Hooker, by all accounts, is going to be one heck of a quarterback, but you're talking about a true freshman coming in. The Hokies really don't have any other options unless they hand the reins over to, Click or something like that, do they?
Yeah, no, it's not going to be Jack Click. I love Jack Click, but it's not going to be Jack Click. It's going to be Bush or Jackson. But and Hooker is basically going to be, you might as well call him an emergency quarterback.
Sure.
He's going to redshirt unless something just comes up, unless he blows everybody away in spring practice. He could do that. But unless he's way head and shoulders above the other two, he's in a red shirt, as he should. I think he's going to be much better off for going, and having spring practice and fall camp, and then spending that year as a red shirt. But when I say want to hand the reins to somebody improving, they're going to have to, but not before you at least put them both through competition in spring practice and in fall camp. So. I think you can't hand the reins to somebody over just outright right at this point. They've got a long way to go, and it's going to be another one of those, though, probably right up to game week. Honestly, I'd say at this point right now, Paul, I honestly could see it going right up to game week.
Yeah.
Going into that West Virginia game before we know who's going to be the starter at Virginia Tech next season.
Well, and Coach Fuente, obviously, you got to wonder if he wants to at some point expand what this offense can do, and having to turn over a quarterback every year doesn't seem like that's the most ideal situation for him. So maybe we will see a guy like Josh Jackson and just kind of live with the bumps and bruises, if you will, and knowing that in the next couple of years it's going to get real good for the Hokies.
Yeah, I think you're right. Josh Jackson, if he wins the job this year, you're talking about a guy who potentially could be a 4-year starter. Obviously, if he has some big, next 2 seasons, he could always declare early, as we've seen, Gerard did. Of course, he didn't, start out a year. But anyway, he could declare early. So you can't say that he's definitely going to be a 4-year starter, but he has that potential to be that. A.J. Bush, again, he's a couple years more down the line. He has moved around. He's already practiced at a big-time school in Nebraska. He didn't play, but he has at least been in a competition before. Josh Jackson, he got his feet wet a little bit last fall, but that was about it. So both of those guys are very unproven. One of them is going to have to be the guy, but it's going to be a very long, drawn-out competition with those two guys. And yeah, especially after what we saw last season with, as late as it was before he finally declared Evans as the starter. I think we could go right up to game week against West Virginia before we know who the starter is going to be. It's going to be either Jackson or Bush. We're not going to know who it's going to be.
D-Day is coming up. I believe it has been set as January the 20th. D for decision, D for Devin. However you want to equate this, but Devin Hunter looking to commit. He came out, I believe, the other day on Twitter with maybe his top 6 or 7. I don't remember. There was a lot of schools on there. Virginia Tech was still in the mix. You still believe that the Hokies are at least at the top of this, if not the far and away leader in the clubhouse right now?
Yeah, I do. I really think the odds. I'm never going to say 100% until it actually happens. mean, somebody that's very close. I've gone on to say 99% before.
Right.
I think Devin right now, I'd say is somewhere between about 75%, 80% Virginia Tech.
Okay.
I think he has been like that for quite a while. I don't think that's really changed. But, this is pretty significant because he had set official visits for later this month. So he's now not going to visit Auburn.
Mm-hmm.
He's not going to visit Ole Miss. He's not going to visit Alabama. So there are places he'll have gone to. He's going to go to Florida this week. So it's going to be either Virginia Tech, Florida, or North Carolina. That's the three he's been to. I'm not really sure why he was kind of messing around. He talked about Ole Miss there because I know they had a coaching change. Coach went from Auburn to Ole Miss. But it's this late in the process, and it's just not going to happen. So, odds are overwhelmingly high, and they have been. They really haven't changed. I mean, I know Devin has kind of milked his recruitment, as he should. He has every right to do that. He's every right to look at all these schools and take visits and, do whatever he wants to. But I know he's really starting to feel pressure.
Right.
And, the closer you get to signing day, the less guys there are that, are deciding. It's a lot of pressure. And I know, I've never been there. I don't think you've been there, Paul, unless you're, a big five-star I didn't know about. But there's a lot of pressure to decide, and you're getting pulled every which way. You've got people coming to see you left and right, in your ear left and right. You got family talking to you. So the sooner you can make your decision, be done with it, I think just the better, because that really takes a toll.
Right.
Going through everything, and you're just getting told this and that. You just have to block everything out, do what you want to do, what's best for you, what you think is going to be the best fit for you, and go with it. And I still think that Virginia Tech has been that choice for the longest time. Devin's just kind of wanted to go through and get a firm look at everything, and I think he felt like he owed it to all these schools that had looked at him to at least give him a fair shot. And you can do that to a point, but at the end of the day, you've got to go with what your gut's telling you, and you got to make that decision where you need to be.
I was a 5-star rank in the donut eating realm.
Okay.
In fact, I was getting pulled by Krispy Kreme and others, and in the end, I chose Carol Lee's. Just simply because
so did you sign your letter of intent with Carol Lee?
I did. I actually did. I faxed it in. They got it, and they asked me what the hell I was doing. So it's let me.
I thought you were just placing an order, right?
Yeah, exactly. They were like, "What is this? Why? No, we'll get you a dozen donuts." Let me ask you this: How appealing would it be, or should it be, or could it be, I guess, to a kid like Devin Hunter, knowing that Chuck Clark is leaving, he's graduating, Darian Green, the other free safety for the Hokies on the 2 deep, is also a senior, so he's graduating. So that free safety position becomes an open spot for someone at Virginia Tech. I mean, obviously, if you're a 5-star kid, by all accounts, you should be able to step right in, at least from everything that you guys have seen of him, and play right away. Is that appealing to a kid like Devin Hunter, that free safety slot is open?
I think it helps. I mean, with a kid like with Hunter, he's so good, and he's talented enough.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know still exactly where he's going to play. I think he could play free safety. He could play rover. He could play nickel. He could play outside. He could play whip linebacker, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, this kid is that talented. I think he's going to get a shot. I'll be honest. I'd say in fall camp, you're going to see him in a lot of different positions. I think they're going to move him around and figure out where he feels most comfortable, where they feel like he can do the most damage. Because he's good enough, he could play a lot of different spots. I don't think he's a guarantee at free safety or anywhere else. So, in his case, Virginia Tech has just been the spot. And I think, I know his idol and the guy he still looks up to, they go back and forth on Twitter all the time, is Cam Chancellor. I mean, he's such an idol that Devin wore number 31, which is Cam's number, in the Army All-American game, just as a tribute. So, they're back and forth all the time. I know he wants to be just like Cam. And, I think he could be. I think he could turn into that kind of player. And, we may be talking about Devin, in the league being that kind of player here before too terribly long. But I think that's a big part of it. He saw what Virginia Tech did for Cam. Obviously, Bud's still there. Bud Foster's still there, the same coach that Cam had. So there's a lot. There's a lot of stuff. There's no one thing I think that points into Virginia Tech. It's a lot of things that all have pointed towards the Hokies' way for quite some time now. I mean, I think you and I have talked, Paul, I would say since, August?
Yep.
I think that
Yep.
Devin, I've said since then, I think Devin was big time leaning towards Virginia Tech. He just wanted to go through the whole process and kind of weigh everything and kind of play everything out.
Could we compare him to a Jabril Peppers out of Michigan as far as, because you talk about him playing various different positions, kind of like Peppers did at Michigan. Is that a fair comparison for Devin Hunter?
Yeah, I don't know if I'd say exactly the same. I mean,
Okay.
Devin's not going to be returning kicks or playing offense or anything. He's just an exceptional defensive player. I think Cam Chancellor is a great comparison to him, honestly. Cam Chancellor, not now Cam Chancellor, but Cam Chancellor probably, you can't even say when he first entered Virginia Tech. Cam Chancellor was a quarterback when he went into college at Virginia Tech, and they moved him to the defensive side. So I would say Cam maybe year 2 or 3 at Virginia Tech is probably a good comparison to Devin, because by that time, Cam was pretty set at where he was on defense, and there was no disputing how good he was, how good of a defender he was, how good of a DB he was. So I think somewhere in that mold, by that time Cam had also put on some weight, been in a strength and conditioning program, and so you're already saying he's pretty close to that level. I think that just speaks to how good Devin is, that he's already up to that kind of level. And, we've seen what Cam has turned out to be. Hunter, Devon, he's got a long way to go. He's not anywhere close to where Cam, obviously NFL Cam is.
Right.
But year 2, year 3 at Virginia Tech Cam, I think that's a pretty good comparison.
All right, so one last question before I let you go, and I'm putting you on the spot here, and I know you'll come through for me. Who's enrolling early? We're getting close to the start of the spring semester. Who should we expect to see on campus here at Virginia Tech, especially when we get ready to play spring ball?
Yeah, it's not a huge class. As far as early enrollees, you've got Andre Ricardo Kearney, you've got Khalil Pimpleton, you've got Hendon Hooker now that's coming early. You get the 2 guys from Fork Union, Terrius Wheatley and Silas Zancy. So all those guys will compete in spring practice. They'll be here this weekend. Class starts back on Tuesday, so I'm not sure if they'll be here Saturday or Sunday. I know Sunday at the very latest. You may have a few of them come Saturday. This is a monster weekend for recruiting, just for everything for Virginia Tech. They've got a handful of official visitors coming this weekend. They've got a big junior day on Sunday. Basketball-wise, you've got the Notre Dame game. I know a lot of those recruits will be at on Saturday. You've got these early enrollees that are coming on Saturday and Sunday to start class on Tuesday. So it's a big-time weekend. It's a very eventful weekend, a very good weekend. I mean, they hope to get maybe another commitment or 2 out of this weekend between the official visitors and junior days. You never know about junior days because you get guys that get so caught up with everything, and they just decide they want to commit, and that doesn't always bode well. I mean, Tywan Garbett did that last junior day. I guess it was back in February of last year, and obviously decided he needed to open things up. But I think it usually turns out to be a very, very good thing, and if they can have a good showing on the basketball court on top of that, and these guys can see all the support and everything that the Virginia Tech fans can get, I think it could be an even bigger weekend than what we think it could be going into it.
Jason Stamm is with the VT Zone. You can find all of their recruiting stuff on scouts.com/college/Virginia Tech. If you just Google the VT Zone, lots of great information there, and we encourage you to sign up, get registered. You got the Sports Illustrated deal going on. Got huge savings on tickets and everything else from the store. Plus, if you sign up for a full year today, only today, Jason Stamm will show up at your house and give you a hug.
Well, yeah, we'll make do just for your listeners, Paul. We'll do that. But I will say we're also doing a special flash sale this weekend. I can't only give the details away because it wouldn't be a flash sale. But
sure.
Saturday and Sunday, if you're thinking about subscribing, this is the weekend to do it. I mean, there's a really big deal we've got in the works. So Saturday, Sunday, stay tuned. This is the weekend to subscribe. I'm
going to tell you right now, subscribe today. Get the hug. It's worth it. Jason, as always, man, thank you so much for doing this. Look forward to chatting with you again next week, and I'm guessing I'll probably see you Saturday at the basketball court.
Oh, I'll be there.
All right, buddy. Take care. Have a good one.
All right.
There you go. Jason Stamm, Scout.com, the VT Zone. Appreciate his time.